I see you talking smack in the chat, Chad. Hotep Jesus, we back. Back with another video for my old time people. Super excited today. Got a great show for you tonight. Great conversation. Um, as you already know, I'm an author, tech startup co-founder. All my companies you can find right at the bottom of the screen. You can also find the links to those in the description box. I'm in AI. I'm in Bitcoin. I'm in iPhone apps. We gets busy over here. This is another uncomfortable conversation. These conversations will be available in audio format on soundcloud.com/HotepJesus. Shout out to Chad already with the super chat. He says, so pumped for this. I remember the old sports reporters in Rome and burning days. Great meeting of the minds. Hotep, gentlemen. Hotep, homie. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce to y'all my guest, the one and only, the infamous Jason Whitlock. What's up, bro? How you feeling?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Great to have you. Thank you very much for taking this conversation with me today. A lot of people call me a coon. They call you a coon. So tonight I'm hoping to be coon-tastic. Now, before we went live, you asked me, you said, you wanted to know what Hotep was. So
yeah, I really do, just because people started throwing that label at me a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't know the history of Hotep, where it came from, any of that, and I would love to be educated.
Absolutely. And I love to be the one to educate you. So I think first and foremost, let me just put this out there as a primary source that you should go to find out all of the great things about ancient Egypt, aka ancient Kemet. You got to speak to Shaka Akmos. Shaka Akmos is the foremost authority on that in the world. One of my big bros. But Hotep, basically at its root meaning, it means peace, or to be at peace, or to be at rest, or satisfaction. As Shaka Akmos has taught me, it means to be satisfied, to have satisfaction, a feeling of satisfaction. But it evolved into like a greeting. So, like black people, we say peace or whatever. Instead, we were saying like Hotep as a greeting. So this is like the conscious community. Maybe there's some blend with black nationalism there, some blend with the NOI, some of that stuff. Definitely different from your typical black, liberal Christian types, right? So that other side of the black community, that Harlem 125th Street, that John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben swag. So that's kind of like where it all starts, right? And then what happened was 2015, Mike Brown got shot. We started presenting our solutions, and then Hotep became a pejorative. And that's how you were met with it, whereas Hotep being turned into a pejorative. And that's where we are now.
How long has the label been around, or the designation?
I mean, I would probably say at least, I could be wrong, but 70s, 80s, people were using it as a greeting. Nobody used it as a noun. It was more like a greeting, right?
Gotcha.
And then the pejorative came along and it became a noun. So that's what me and my team grabbed it and was like, y'all not going to ruin the ancestors speak. I'm going to show you what Hotep is. So we call ourselves Hoteps and took it on as a brand and exalted it.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, that's the...
What was y'all's Michael Brown solutions that everyone found offensive?
Mostly like black economics, right? Like keep the money circling in the community. What's funny was I told people, I said, yo, we should boycott the NFL. That's what I said. 2015. I said, we should boycott the NFL. I said, burn your Nikes. Right. And
that.
You like that? Okay.
The NFL, I mean, look, what industry has created more blackmail millionaires than the NFL? None. Please don't say. Hip hop, not even close, not even the same ballpark. None. NBA, not in the same ballpark.
But how many of them are keeping that money after?
That's not on the NFL. That's on us.
You're right. You're right.
on us. So
Yeah. I mean, you hold on one second. Let me just. I just gotta text my daughter here. Turn yeah to 69, and I'm about to give you my full attention for the duration. How much time we got tonight with you?
oh, I got a good hour from right now.
Okay.
7:08.
All right. Let's do a good hour.
Yeah,
Um. See, I don't want to take too much time debating that topic,
yeah.
but I just saw. Here's some facts. The media relies on the NFL. TV shows rely on the NFL for advertising because it's one of the most watched
Yeah.
viewed things on TV. So I said, if we want to disrupt this entire system, let's just divest from.
So what's the agenda with disrupting the entire system? Why do we need to disrupt the entire system?
No.
So yeah, I don't see that as a goal. I think we need to learn the system and learn how to operate within the system to make it work for us. That's
Yes.
what my father did. That's what Booker T. Washington did. That's
Yeah.
what I believe in, and that's why, like, when I started looking into Hotep, and although I didn't fully understand it, it's like that mentality I can relate to in terms of like, no, no, man, cast your bucket down, build you a
Mhm.
business, build you a reality that makes you comfortable and that you have power and control in. That's what my father did. He never left the black community
Mm.
to
Mm.
socialize, to his business, build a brand new home in the hood, the whole nine. He built him a little black world that he was very comfortable in.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I teach my kids how to work within the system, how to work the system. System is very easily to manipulate to your own benefit, right?
Yeah.
I personally have divested from watching all sports. I don't watch any sports anymore. And I used to be an avid sports viewer.
I feel
Um,
you.
and I think the real motivation for me was the fact that these owners don't care if their teams win or lose. These owners just care about selling tickets, and if wins get tickets, then that helps. And they're happy. But you got some owners own more than one team. It's actually the NFL is one big club. They all kind of like own the whole thing together. So there's a lot of conflict of interest there. And I'm like, why should I care about a team winning if the actual owner don't care? Am I wrong in that?
Maybe a little bit. I just look, man. I sports lifted me up and out,
Yeah.
and it's hard for me to give up on it. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and it's certainly benefited my life. I wasn't going to college without football. Period. End of story. I,
Right.
I never took school all that seriously until my last year of college. So, I have a passion and a love and reverence for sports that's hard to diminish, but although it is getting diminished because I'm looking at these athletes that are making millions of dollars and all that transfer of money to them is actually increasing their power. And I wish they knew how to use that power and how to organize amongst themselves because they still just talking about begging, just still, oh, the ownership, they need to flex their muscle and do X, Y, and Z. Man, some of them ownership people are like, man, I started with $5 in my pocket and
Mm,
turned it into billions. You sitting here with millions in your pocket, turn it into billions, and then you flex your muscle. Or
yeah.
as millionaires flex your muscle. So uh,
Yeah, I never even put it on the players. Even when I was talking about boycotting NFL, I was like, I'm not putting on the players. They getting paid. They got a job to do. Let them boys go out there and get paid. I was talking about more for the people, right? But I like your statement, right? You're saying that the NFL created more black millionaires than anything else out there, and I can't.
black male millionaires.
Okay, black male
Yeah.
millionaires.
And the NFL is and again, it's probably most black millionaires, period. But anything that supports black men, and particularly masculine men, I'm in support of.
So you believe that we should just take those millions and
Yeah,
start building?
absolutely. That's a transfer of wealth to some young African American men. They need to cobble their resources together. It's like we celebrate Jay-Z. What a businessman. He's a businessman. And no one else wants to be a businessman. I mean, it's like Jay-Z can do it, but Michael Thomas, the wide receiver for the Saints, he can't do it.
Why?
Okay, he can. Is my point. It's like if Jay-Z can do it, hustling nickel bags and whatever else he exaggerates in his rap song, how come Michael Thomas, who's 24, 25, just signed $100 million contract, he can't become a businessman, or he can't connect with people that can show him how to build a business that benefits people that look like him? Every other ethnic group does this and has done this. We keep refusing. We keep showing up in cities that, oh, they got a Koreatown. Oh, they got a Little Italy. Oh, they got Chinatown. Oh, they got this. We have ghettos. Nobody comes up and says, oh, they got a black town over here where it's really popping and they got businesses and they all support each other and that's our hub. We have ghettos and
Uh,
we try to escape from them rather than build something there. And again, the reason why it's authentic to me is just because my father cast down his bucket in one of them ghettos and tried to build something. I respect that.
what's stopping these players from putting their money together and
White liberals, white
white
liberals,
liberals?
that's their masters. That's who they spend their life trying to please, like a lot of black people.
Mm,
The comfort, again, it's comical. We are the alleged house Negroes. And the only house I've ever been in is my own. I see these guys curled up, snuggled up with every white liberal in the world and trying to please them and trying to make everybody. The white liberal is their master, and it's who they worship, and it's their political ideology that they think best serves us.
mm,
Uh, I disagree with that, and if it's not about standing on your own 2 feet, if somebody's not teaching you how to fish, if somebody's giving you fish, they're
mm,
really uh, entrapping you into
mm,
dependence on them. Somebody comes and say, "Hey, man, here's a little fishing pole. Here's some string. Here's a lure. Go out and fend for yourself, and don't come crying to me if you're hungry.
mm.
Go work that pole I just gave you." That's a person that's actually looking out for you. That's a
Mhm,
person that's like, "Man, do what I did. You're capable of it."
mm.
Instead of this, because long before all this politics came into sports, you can ask anybody in my family, young kids in my family, nieces, nephews, cousins, that I've always tried to help. My number one saying is, pity don't pay no bills.
Mm,
And I'm looking at Negroes right now, man. They think pity is the Black American Express card, and it's gonna pay every bill in the world. And it's a joke to me. If we could just get, that's what I'm. And look, man, I want to be careful because Kirk Herbstreit's a friend of mine, and I
okay.
like and respect Kirk Herbstreit. I don't know if you saw it, but last week he cried on TV, and black people lost their minds. Oh my God, Kirk Herbstreit! I mean, black people were speaking in tongues, called the Holy Ghost, everything. Kirk Herbstreit cried on TV. Look
What
at
was he?
America.
Why is he crying?
Over social unrest, social justice, allegedly in support of Jacob Blake and George Floyd
Oh,
and all that.
okay.
And black people just thought, oh, that was one of the greatest moments. People actually tweeted out, it's one of the greatest, most powerful moments in the history of college game day on ESPN. And so, I mean, it's like that white pity, man, is white pity is, I guess, what I can I speak profanely on this show?
Yes, you can.
Oh, it's what some white pity is what some of us consider what. Yeah, I got a way to say it. It's it's WAP to to some of these people. It ain't to me. I prefer WAP over white pity.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Y'all gotta tweet that out. Did you hear what that man just said? He said white pity is equivalent to WAP.
To a lot of
Oh,
people. I'm just telling you, man. It is.
That's an accurate analogy. Def Jules, Hotep, he said, always good and honest discussion on the side. Yes, sir. Hi Bird, 499 Super Chat say, hey, love the show. Hey, Whitlock, really opened my eyes to China's influence on the NBA and the connection it has to Nike. Thanks. True offense. Why is it that when the black man gives you solutions, you are the most hated? The white liberal tells you how many problems you have, and he's loved. Yeah, that's so true. All right, so you mentioned Jay-Z, right?
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you my opinion on the Jay-Z move into the NFL thing, and then you could tell me what's really going on here because you got the inside track. I see Jay-Z being an opportunist, and I fucking love it because everybody's crying about what the owners should do, the NFL should do, and it's like you said, they all have the ball in their court, so to speak. And Jay-Z came along and got a bag out of it. Now you tell me, am I accurate in my assessment? And what is Jay-Z really doing with this program in the NFL?
Well, at this point, I'm not sure if he's doing much of anything because the whole thing got disrupted by George Floyd. And that has, because look, what white people do, and I'm going to attribute this to my man Curtis Schoon. He likes to talk about Negro wranglers.
Okay.
And, it's a polite way of saying overseers,
Yep.
but there are selected. We used the number one Negro wranglers used to be black ministers in the church.
Yes.
It was their job to lead black people to the political polls and to control black people and blah blah blah. And to trust me, that's a better system than what we have now today because
Mm,
now rappers and basketball players and football players, they're the Negro wranglers today. And a minister would try to hit you with scripture, a little bit of logic, a little bit of hope to wrangle you, blah, blah, blah. And celebrities and athletes and rappers try to, what all they want to hit you with, worship me,
mm,
follow me. And
mm,
so that's why LeBron James is very comfortable calling himself a king. That's
mm,
why Jay-Z in his songs is comfortable calling himself a god. That's how these guys see themselves. And again, I don't know where Hoteps fall on the religious spectrum, but I'm very suspicious of people uh, who aren't humble enough to recognize they are not the most high.
mm,
When you start worshiping man and think of man as the most high,
mm,
to me that's a dangerous person. Again, I don't have a bias against atheist people. They're free to think and do whatever they want. This is America. I don't have all the answers, but I do. Just people that don't believe in a higher power tend to have egos that are out of control. And I
mm,
know I'm someone that people think, oh, Whitlock's got a massive ego, but I have confidence because of my submission to the Most High
mm,
and the humility that comes over me that no, I'm not in control of this. There's just a few little things I can do. But anyway, I just, Jay-Z is a Negro wrangler, and it's very hard to wrangle Negroes right now. Particularly, Jay-Z was going to try to be a mature one, and he came out and said the time for kneeling is over or
mhm,
has passed, and then George Floyd reinstituted kneeling.
mm, mm,
And so, again, the NFL just kicked off last night,
mhm,
and there was no conversation about Jay Z. There was
mm,
no They had, I think, Alicia Keys may have sang the national anthem or sang something,
mhm.
and other people were involved. No one was crediting that to Jay Z or his influence. Jay Z was brought into Negro Wrangle, uh,
To
and now
pacify, to kind of
I would
pacify.
say I don't know if pacify. He was brought in to calm them down and to get the athletes to focus on business. And this is where
Mm,
I say he may have had some impact, but it's all behind the scenes now. It's not out front which had tipped to Jay-Z. Because when I look at the players, the Miami Dolphins, again, you're not paying attention, but the Miami Dolphins came out with a statement last night
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday. They're just not coming out for the either anthem, the Black National Anthem, the National Anthem. They said clearly the time for gestures is over. We're tired of these gestures. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, that was like, oh man, I wonder if Jay-Z is in their ear, because
Mm-hmm.
that's consistent with what Jay-Z said when he came through the front door. And then I saw the Houston Texans, who played in that game last night against the Chiefs. They didn't come out for either national anthem, and also came out and said, we tired of the gesture thing. The Chiefs stood for the but so I think the NFL, and I think a lot of people were surprised by one. The Chiefs stood for the national anthem, except for one Chiefs player who's had a bunch of arrests, and so he don't like the cops, and so okay, you don't like the police, you done some dumb shit, and you've been arrested. We'll look the other way. And then the Houston Texans just didn't participate, and so that was quite a curveball and puts the NBA out on an island. And dude, I'm glad we're having this discussion because I can get a column out of this. Because
Mm.
I think what we're looking at
Yeah.
is the difference between LeBron James and Jay-Z.
Mm.
LeBron James is the NBA's Negro Wrangler.
Okay.
Jay-Z is the Negro Wrangler for the NFL.
Mm.
Everybody in the NBA is taking a knee.
Mm.
LeBron James, he's wrangled all the Negroes into doing that. Over in the NFL, they seem to be going a little different direction. It's
Mm.
not as because I think everybody expected them to take a knee and do everything, and it was far more subdued. And so, hell, maybe Jay-Z's wrangling Negroes better than I thought.
But it sounds like you agree with Jay-Z that the gestures need to go.
Absolutely.
Mm.
If Penny don't pay no bills, gestures sure as hell don't. And all these, again, this is what I'm just saying about. And I want to be crystal clear. Don't nobody take me out of context. Kirk Herbstreit's a friend of mine. I like Kirk Herbstreit. I respect him. I get what he was doing. But that was the crying on TV. That's a gesture. And I'm telling you, Negroes caught the Holy Ghost. Me, I'm just like, come on now. I mean, that. Trust me. On the first, when it's time to pay this rent, those tears aren't gonna cover none of them bills. They're not gonna put your kids through college. When Shaniqua goes and applies for a job, the boss isn't gonna. Well, I saw Kirk Herbstreit crying on TV. Let me give you this job, Shaniqua. That's not happening. That's just not happening.
What about the dude that walked off the set with Shaq and the other guy?
Kenny Smith.
Kenny Smith. Yeah.
Let me
Another
be
gesture?
clear. Oh, come on, but yes, let me be crystal. I love Kenny Smith. I love the inside the NBA TNT crew. But this as black people, man. There's no other ethnic group that would allow their most successful, high-profile, well-paid people to get away with the shit we're allowing these celebrities to get away with.
Mm.
Gestures.
Mm.
I'm gonna walk off the set of TNT. I ain't gonna talk no more. That'll show them. I mean, I'm about to do a spoof video, Hotep.
Uh-oh.
That I can't call you Jesus, man. I'm a Christian.
That's fine. That's fine.
Hotep. That I'm about to do a video that's a spoof about what do these athletes think happens when a racist white person sees them taking a knee during the national anthem, sees them with Breonna Taylor's name on the back of their helmet. And so I'm gonna show like a white guy who comes home, takes off his KKK hood, plops down on his couch with a Michelob and some Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he's ready to watch football. Then he hears the national anthem and sees these signs, and you turn back to him, and now he's got a Kango on his head. He got a Kaepernick jersey on. He got some Popeyes chicken out in front of him, a bottle of Hennessy, and he got a black woman next to him twerking that big fat, shaking that wop like Cardi B, and it's go, damn, he heard the national anthem and saw. That's what these dudes think these gestures and slogans and symbols do. That they convert. It's like a baptism. You know, they dunked in water. Next thing you know, the hillbilly white boy pops up. It's like, "What's up, my nigga?"
Yo, shout out to my
Hate that
homie.
word. I'm sorry for saying that. I hate. Now I'm caught on video saying that.
Uh
Damn.
oh. Uh oh.
Uh,
Shout out
uh,
to my homie Cooley Bravo. He made this joke. NBA was talking like, "Oh, the owners need to do more." And Cooley Bravo said, "What are they going to do? Make the Black Lives Matter sign font a little bit bigger?" Right? Like these things are supposed to like change something. Like,
yeah.
like, like I don't get what how owners are supposed to be responsible for the black community. Like owners are supposed to be responsible for what police officers do. Right? There's no correlation here whatsoever. It's
No. I think it's a total misunderstanding. And this is look. I used to be an athlete, and I didn't pay all that much attention in class, and that's what I see with a lot of these athletes. Like, damn, y'all fell asleep all through government and social studies and everything. Y'all have no idea how this system works.
uh,
That because again, LeBron's out there. Vote. You gotta vote. Vote or die. Vote or
yeah.
die. We gotta put Democrats in office to save us. And I'm like, Negro, have you looked? Every one of these cities where they dropping bodies is what's her name, Lori Lightfoot, and all these other people. They in control. Who you gonna put in there? Well, if they just get more liberal, you can't get much more liberal than Lightfoot. I mean, my God, she married a white woman, the whole nine. I mean, how much more liberal can you get?
I didn't even know that. Damn, she married a white woman. Oh, why did they always seem to marry white people and then be so pro black? The most pro black people always be in bed with white
Because it's a
folks.
cover up, man. It's a cover up. People
Uh,
ain't comfortable with what they doing, and so they go over the top the other way. Man, don't talk about my white wife. See how black I am, dude. I can name names on it because I've worked with some of these dudes. That there's a very prominent broadcaster I used to work with that been friends with for a long time. When he was an NFL player, the whole nine, he had a running joke: if you ever catch a white woman, I mean a black woman on my elbow, I'm holding her for the police. That was his joke. And now he sits on TV as the blackest person in America, and the shit cracks me up.
yeah, I know who you talking about. Me and that man share a last name, so I know. So everybody knows my legal name is Brian Sharp, Sharpe. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's rewind a little bit. We talked
Yeah.
about Chiefs, right? Chiefs booing. The Chiefs fans were booing. We know for a fact they were booing the ceremony. Was that what that?
I think, and I wrote today that on the jumbotron at the beginning of that ceremony, it said, we believe Black Lives Matters" or something like that. It's a big Black Lives Matters on the jumbotron at both end zones. Black Lives Matters, whether these people like it or not, it's toxic and divisive. White people hate it. BLM to white people is the same as KKK to black people. If they had
Mm,
scrolled KKK up across that jumbotron, black people would have booed. You
mm.
scroll Black Lives Matter across there, white people are going to boo. And you can sit there and say, and I wrote today that, well, Black Lives Matter is peaceful. 93% of the time. They came out with a stat. 93% of the time, Black Lives Matter protest. Well, you know that like 90% of Klan rallies are peaceful too. I mean, so it don't take a lot to dirty up your reputation. And again, it ain't like every time a KKK member saw a black person, they got killed. 95% of the time, a KKK guy is nonviolent and peaceful.
Uh,
But it's that other 5%, it's that 7% that establishes your reputation. And white people have watched the looting, rioting, the violence, the harassment, people
mm,
all up in your face, screaming and yelling, megaphones and all that. And that's what BLM represents to them.
mm,
So
mm.
uh, that's
What,
why I think they booed.
well, what about the nuance to the conversation of Black Lives Matter? The fact that the majority of these people in these streets trashing cities are Caucasian, they are European, they are whites. And also, what about the nuance of them actually not being Black Lives Matter, but being Antifa under the cloak of Black Lives Matter?
And that's why, as black people, and I'm gonna speak directly here to black men,
Okay.
and maybe I don't want to be offensive to any of these, but
Offend everybody.
most of my friends are black men that played football, basketball with me, or whatever. But uh, there's a way I handle my credit cards. I control them. I
Mm,
don't lend nobody my credit card. I
mm,
wouldn't lend my mama my credit card. I'm not gonna let somebody else charge up a bunch of shit on my credit.
mm,
And if we as black men continue to let these white folks, these Antifa white folks, run around on a black credit card under the pretense of we helping black people, we're letting them run around on our credit card, make
mm,
a bunch of charges that we are gonna have to pay for.
mm,
A mistake, and it speaks to a level of cowardice within us, a
mm,
level of femininity within us that needs to be eliminated. I'm sorry, that's just
mm,
the way I feel about it. And so, the whole, I'm very much aware. I see the white folks gassing up, and one doing a lot of dirt, and then gassing up a handful of idiot Negroes to go out here and do the dirt with them.
right.
And so it's anarchy, and it's all under the pretense of us,
Right.
and it ain't us. We know damn what this Antifa, George Soros, and all the stuff he's financing. That ain't got a damn thing to do with us.
Mm,
And we need to have the balls because Hotep, I'm gonna tell you the conversation I keep having with my friends. Now everybody wants to say it's very popular. I don't know what your black friends are telling you, but they all want to tell me now. Look, I don't support the Black Lives Matter organization,
mm,
but I do support Black Lives Matter. And
mm.
I'm like, oh, so you love the fruit, but you disavow the tree.
Oh, oh,
And look, I got a lot of friends that and again, I look at a lot of these dudes married to. And trust me, anybody that knows me know I ain't got no problem with interracial dating, no problem at all. I'm not a hypocrite, but don't sit here if you married to, snuggled up with, at home with a white woman, white man, or whatever. You love the fruit, but now you want to get on TV or go out to these protests and talk bad about the tree. Doesn't add up.
When did you become hip to, Black Lives Matter being this socialist Marxist movement?
Early on,
Okay.
early on. Uh, socialist Marxist, maybe 3, 4 years ago. What
Okay.
I knew from the beginning was this ain't us.
Mm,
So what I knew from the beginning, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, I don't want to get crossways with anybody, but it's a socialist Marxist movement
mhm,
who's also, if I'd put one other characteristic about Black Lives Matter, it's very concerned with gay rights.
mm,
And again, the founders are lesbians. No
right.
offense, whatever your sexual lifestyle is your sexual lifestyle. I'm heterosexual. I have a right to stand up for my choice of sexuality and want to promote things that benefit my sexuality, not at the expense of anyone else's. But I was, from the outset, I was telling people like, "Hey, this ain't really about us." I was mostly talking to black men because I'm a black man and I'm heterosexual. Just trying to tell all my friends, I don't think we're the real agenda here.
Mm,
And then as I got deeper into it and started researching, and the way they love to toss around the word comrade and just the whole culture around Black Lives Matter, socialist, Marxist, and uh, not an agenda that really has anything to do with black men.
yeah, I saw that from the very beginning, just like you did. I was like, I went straight to the website, right? And was like, all right, let me read what this is all about. And I read it and I'm like, wait, they removed black men from, under villages. It said mothers, parents, children. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how you just skip over dad like that, right?
You can't
And
make
so,
kids without a penis, man. I haven't seen it done.
right. So, so I recognized early, and I put out a video. I said Black Lives Matter is a LGBT organization, and that's fine. But we don't need to be pretending like this is for black folks. And that's kind of like how the Hotep thing
Yeah.
really got propelled, right? Because they're like, "Oh, you guys are Hoteps, you're jealous." Da da da. And I'm like, nah, I ain't jealous. And then Colin Kaepernick came along, and he did the knee thing. And you know my stance. Like I'm like all for the boycott of the NFL, right? And he did the knee thing, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I knew it was a gesture, as you would say, right? So then you came out with your skit on Colin Kaepernick, right?
But let me tell you something. I wanted to come out with my skit. It was taped. It was ready to go. They never aired it, but the thing was one of the funniest things that's ever been done. I mean, it was incredible. It was Chappelle like. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I may redo that.
It's going to be relevant again. So how do you feel about the fact that they've included him in the new Madden? It said, hey, if you want to add him to your roster, you can go ahead and take him over free agency.
At what point? At what point? At any time during his career was he better than Cam Newton?
Mm,
But now on Madden, he pops up and he's 3 years out of the league, and he's better than Cam Newton.
mm,
He's better than Ryan Tannehill. I mean, man, when they paying you in pity, man, that means they don't respect you. I'm just telling you,
mm,
pity is people don't understand the difference in emotion. Hate is inspired by fear and competition.
okay.
Sympathy is inspired by a belief of inferiority.
Mm,
And so, again, when you really understand those emotions and what triggers them, that's when it's like the reason why people are lathering you up with sympathy and pity is because they think you're inferior.
mm,
When they hit you with that hate, it's like, oh, you're a threat. I
mm,
respect you. You're a threat. I dislike you.
mm-hmm,
And so we just running around here. Oh my God, please hit me with some pity, hit me with some sympathy. And look, it might be an indication that we think we're inferior.
mm,
And then they look crazy at me, you, Curtis Goon, a bunch of other folks like, man, I'm inferior to the most high, but
mm-hmm.
everybody else, let's duke it out. Let's see.
Yeah. Right. Right. I thought Colin tried to make it about himself, and that's what I didn't like. When I saw him posed up in GQ magazine as a Black Panther, I was like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Black Panther, really? You gonna let them dress you up like that? Like me, I'm Hotep. I'm all about that life. I would never let GQ dress me up as a Black Panther unless I had real Black Panthers with me. Like, no, why don't y'all get some real black dudes in here? It was just him and the kids. He got his fist up. He ain't wore no afro before he got benched, right?
Look, man, and I'll just
And then he did the whole Toby thing, right? He called himself Toby.
kill to Kente. I
Kunta
love these
Kinte.
guys that again, if you're going to be out there and be this, I'm the pro back leader. I want you to live that life 24/7. I really do.
Right.
And so Malcolm X, if he had gone home to Becky Shabazz rather than Betty Shabazz, I'd be like, hey, this is inconsistent. I
Yeah.
see you out here on stage for 3 or 4 hours a day, and it's 100% black. You go home, them other 20, 21 hours, and I have no problem with whatever floats people, turns them on. I have zero problem with it.
Mm,
But choices have consequences.
mm,
All choices have consequences. And
mm,
consequences aren't negative. But
mm,
you got to accept those consequences. And to me, you cannot be a militant black leader
mm-hmm.
if when you go home, your wife is from Egypt or whatever Ness Nitty, Yoko Ono is, uh, you know, he, he needs to be with I don't know, Sister Soda, Whoopi Goldberg, somebody, uh, you know, and then it'll have some authenticity to me. But it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just, and I'm just keeping it real, and that's what you'll never see me out there as this super militant black leader,
Hmm.
unless it's a 24/7 thing. I'm
Right.
single for a reason, you know, and I've made some dating choices that eliminate me from being Malcolm X. Period.
Hey, I gotta appreciate the honesty
Yeah.
and the rawness. I'm gonna get into some super chats real fast when we get back to this. P from around the way said, "White ass pity." That's what WAP stands for. I love it. The Mr. W Network, he said, "Lacks of doxology leads to idolatry." Powerful.
Yeah.
The Advil Comedian Podcast, appreciate you. Biggest Mikey, what up, homie? He said, "Here's the flip side, though. HJJW. Some brothers want to be led. There's the security in not having to do anything or real legwork on your own." Yes, yes, absolutely. Nerd
Well,
Nash, what up, nerd?
let me respond to that though. I don't have a
Okay.
problem with people that are followers. The greatest sign of a leader, a lot of times, is his willingness to follow.
Mm,
Uh, this is my problem: is we got a bunch of followers trying to be leaders,
mm,
and are people that's not qualified to be leaders, and or their ego won't allow them to follow or support a real leader. I think LeBron James's heart probably is in a good place,
okay.
but his head's not there.
Mm,
And if he shouldn't be trying to be any kind of political spokesman. If people really understood Muhammad Ali, he was not a spokesman. He was a puppet of the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. And that was a great role for Muhammad Ali. He was a boxer. He's not an intellectual. He wasn't Elijah or Malcolm. And so he took the programming from them and represented their point of view, and that lifted him to a place of prominence. And that was great. I just who Bill who's the puppet master behind LeBron James? Are they great intellects? Are they even black? To
mm,
me, it looks like it's Phil Knight. And I
mm.
don't think Phil Knight at Nike, that he's not Elijah Muhammad. He's not Malcolm X.
You think Phil Knight might be implicated in pulling the strings of LeBron James?
Not him. Completely pulling the strings. Yes, he is the man behind the curtain. As well he should be. He paid the cost to be the boss. He gave this dude $1 billion contract.
Yeah.
That's why it's so obvious what LeBron is doing, and I respect it. If Phil Knight paid me $1 billion, I'd be out there doing all the same shit LeBron's doing. I really would. Let's keep it. We all would, but let's don't pretend like Phil Knight's not calling the plays.
How does Phil Knight benefit?
How does he benefit?
Hmm.
Go look at Nike and their relationship with China
Hmm.
and how dependent they are on making sure they're good in that China market, making sure they can get slave labor out of Asia, and
Yeah.
then go look at Nike and how Nike's agenda in China conflicts with Trump's agenda globally and particularly with China. Go look at the America First agenda about bringing manufacturing home, not being so dependent on Asian slave labor.
Yeah.
And so Phil Knight and Nike benefit because that's a global country with a global agenda, and there's an isolationist president in office that wants to bring things back to America. It's as simple as that. This is just and LeBron James and Colin Kaepernick are paid to smear Donald Trump as racist and
Mm.
smear America as racist because that serves the interest of China and Nike's relationship with China. It's very simple.
Uh. So we know Nike's in bed with China. I did that, like I said, when I was on my boycott Nike thing. I was well aware of that. So I guess that speaks to why they're so silent about the injustices happening in China, which are quite similar to the ones that are happening in America. That
No,
there's
no, 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 no. Don't even say quite similar. Trust me. I paid a bunch of money to get a black Ball State football player out of prison in China. and the BS they had him caught up on. These black people over here bitching and complaining about America. I'd love for them to go to China and see what kind of ass kicking they get. To see if it takes wrestling with, pulling a taser and shooting at them to get one of them Chinese police to go upside their head. It wouldn't take all that. You raise an eyebrow, and they're gonna let you know whose country you in and where you stand in the pecking order over in China. And so, the racism in China again. They just came out with a story about how Hollywood has been denying dark-skinned black people opportunities to please the market in China and what China wants.
Yeah.
And so, American racism compared to the racism black people face in China, where literally, could you imagine? Seriously, black people here in America would lose their mind. A black person in China has a hard time getting served at McDonald's in China. If they did, you think there's been rioting and protesting over George Floyd? If we couldn't eat at McDonald's here, Lord, we burn Wendy's down. What we would do to Ronald McDonald's, man, would make an episode of Oz look like a Disney. Disney.
Yeah, for people that aren't aware, you got many places in China they say Chinese only, and your black ass is not allowed in. Several places, and they're very upfront about hating darkies. So there's some room for hypocrisy, I guess we can say, from Nike, Phil Knight, and LeBron and the likes. Shout out to Nerd Nash. He said, "You got Whitlock. Salute." Shout out to Nerd Nash, longtime supporter of the show. Appreciate you, homie. Chad Lemoyne, did you notice the NFL allowed choreographed celebrations to coincide with kneeling timing 5 years ago? No, I didn't see that. Damn, I just lost my place here. Joseph Clark, Hotep, and Whitlock, Outkick. Thanks for your voices. Yeah, shout out to Outkick.com. I think Jason Whitlock is very intelligent for building his own platform. That's a great idea. Rights to Ride, I'm an enrolled Native American, real kind, not the Elizabeth Warren kind. What is both your opinion of the 1619 program and how that eliminates Native American heritage? We'll talk about that later. Cruel Philosopher, ask Jason if he's thought up any more about Clay Travis's Malcolm X question. It was a 4-minute discussion they had that could have been longer. You want to talk on that?
Tell me that again.
Clay Travis Malcolm X question?
Clay Travis had a Malcolm X question?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. We'll just go to the next one. Cornelius Edwards, $10 super chat. Thank you, bro. Christine.
Hotep, I'm losing you a little bit.
All right, no worries.
Yeah.
Your
voice seems lower.
All right, I'm gonna finish these super chats and we'll get right back. Matthew Bird, $4.99. Thank you. B Weezy Bird, $1.99. Would you rather debate Jamel, LeBron, or Cap?
Would I rather? Jamel Hill wants no parts of debating me, and I don't know if I'd want to debate Jamel Hill because I think beating up a baby seal or she's way outside my intellectual weight class. That's a lightweight. I'm a heavyweight in every sense of the word. And I try to pick fair fights. And Jamel Hill's a Twitter apparatus or a Twitter journalist. If you can, and you can't do journalism over Twitter. Trust me, if you're capable of doing more than just saying white people are racist, you do that. But if you're not capable of more than doing that, you just tweet out that white people are racist and look, I'm speaking truth to power over Twitter.
Is that so? That's what's because I was wondering, like, what's going on with Jamel Hill? Like, she'd ride around in a nice car. She had a good job. She lost that brother his job, Sam Smith.
Yeah, Michael Smith. Yeah, no one talks about that. How she destroyed his career. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, she destroyed that black man's career because she wanted to be selfish. But I'm trying to figure out, like, what's her angle? Like, but I think you've made that clear. She just isn't capable.
There you go. And when you've been allegedly at the journalism thing as long as she has, and no one can cite any journalistic work that you've done that
Mm,
didn't include some gaffe of making some kind of Hitler reference or whatever. Uh, and so she was a good podcaster, her and Michael Smith, and then they got promoted past their level of effectiveness, and then resort when it failed, just call everybody racist on your way out the door, and then you just settle into calling everybody racist over Twitter. That's the way you build a Twitter following. Look, Sean King's done it,
mm,
and a lot of people have done it. You just keep your feed pop, and that kind of stuff gets retweeted and liked. The louder you shout racism, the more Twitter gasses you up. It amplifies your voice. Uh, but trust, if you're capable of doing more, you do more. It's like if I was capable of dating Tamron Hall, that's who I would be dating.
mhm,
Clearly, I'm not, so I settle for less.
mm. That totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just go ahead and just lean off of her because we shouldn't expect much there. Super Sean 95, thank you. He said you've been a personal hero of mine, Jason. Speak for yourself is missing you. Um, I back much of what you're saying and believe we need more introspection instead of reaction. We need to think. Somebody just who was his deference said China. Victor of Life, what up, homie? He said, shout out to Jason and the Hotep Nation. Yatu Saves. Natasha K. Lane, longtime supporter of the show. Thank you, girl. Deaf Jules, crazy because they worship Black Buddha statues. Yeah, they do. John Lemley, 250. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Lemley. He said, good evening. Mike Cleveland, he said, what player should be the voice of the NBA if not LeBron? I say Kyrie.
Whew, that's a curveball. Why
Yeah,
why you say Kyrie?
because that's a real nigga. I mean, prior to these, first of all, like he was the first one I want to say that was like, yo, I'm not afraid to sit, right? And then these cats wanted to sit that one game, which I thought was stupid because they're gonna play again the next day or whatever. But I always Kyrie's Hotep is short to me, just to
You
be
think
short.
so?
He's very Hotep. He got the ankh on his shoes.
Oh,
I
I
mean
didn't.
the third eye on his shoes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Huh.
want to say the ankh too. Yeah.
So I would say this. I really believe this. LeBron should be the voice of the NBA. He's the best player. He's charismatic, but he's and so I don't really think that's I'm dodging the guy's question because he really means it differently and say who would be a better voice for the NBA than
Mm.
LeBron James. And I guess I would lean, I'll stick to the same team as you. I would say Kevin Garnett.
Mm.
And and it's not because I think everything Kevin Garnett says is right, but I just think Kevin Garnett is one of the most authentic, super high profile athletes that we've ever seen.
Right.
He again, his insecurities he lays out there, the fact that he beefs with people, came up with a burner account, all of that. Kevin Garnett is off. Kevin Durant is authentic, whether you like him or not.
Oh, Durant. Okay.
Kevin Durant. Did I say Kevin Garnett
Yeah.
originally? Yeah,
Yeah.
I meant Kevin Durant, Brooklyn
Okay.
Nets, Kevin Durant. He's very authentic, and so that and now that I think about when I think about authenticity, the real voice of the NBA is still Charles Barkley, and it's because of his authenticity. But I'm sure this guy's talking about active players, and so I would say Kevin Durant, or if you wanted to go wholesome, uh, Steph Curry. He's come
Yeah.
he comes from an NBA family. Dad haven't played in the NBA. His brother's in the NBA.
He
That
got that good light skin.
his mom is one of the most beautiful women on the planet. Hell of a spokesman for the
I could agree with those. I could totally agree with those. Um, Matthew Bird said, "Hotep Jesus teach Whitlock the phrase shine." I know he you know that phrase shine.
I
He
do
called
not.
nah.
Uh-uh.
It's a phrase Uncle Hotep has made popular. basically these black liberals, ignorant blacks, calls them shines, like the moonshine.
Shine,
Yeah,
Shine.
yeah,
Oh, shines. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joseph Vale said Jason is the best in the business. He helps me understand the gaps and where they are to fill so we can move forward. God bless you both, and let's get it done with love. Last one, Clint Griffin, Spencer Dinwiddie. He's woke on the Fed. Oh, let's talk Bron. I don't like Bron. I've never really liked Bron. Um, is he really reading Malcolm X, or is that just a stunt?
Hell no, he ain't reading Malcolm X. Yeah, I mean, you heard his answer. He ain't even make it past page one. Uh, Listen, I've said this, and I want to know your reaction. I don't know if you've ever seen me publicly, but I've said it several times. I said it on my TV show. I've written about it. LeBron James is Black Donald Trump
Mm,
all the way, and
mm,
they're not that articulate. They're addicted to social media. Uh, they're very narcissistic, and they're very pampered, spoiled, and entitled. And
mm,
so when it comes to LeBron, when I say that, people go, "What do you mean? LeBron from the ghetto. His mama, he didn't know his." And I'm like, well, hold on, man. First of all, because I grew up poor, but I don't remember being poor as a kid. Because
mm,
as a kid, you're just out having fun and eating a sugar sandwich on white bread tastes real good, and it's you're not sitting there like, man, I'm poor and I'm eating a butter and sugar sandwich. You're not thinking that way as a kid. You just thinking, I'm eating something now. I can go outside and play. We can play high and go get it. We can, whatever. We can go out here and do it. And so by the time LeBron got to age 10, 11 years old, everybody knew at that point, like, holy cow,
mm,
this dude's going to be worth a lot of money if we can just get him to age 18. We
mm,
can just get him to the NBA. We all going to make a mint. And so at age 10 or 11, grown men throughout Ohio and then eventually throughout the country started like, what can we do to help LeBron make it to age 18? And
mm,
so they started shipping help and taking an interest and catering to LeBron James. And every year he got older, the catering and the butt kissing got more and more pronounced. Because by the time he was 14, everybody knew it. Not just like, oh man, we might make 5 million off this. People start, oh man, I can make a lifetime of wealth. Nike knew, every shoe company knew. The next one is coming, LeBron James. This dude has had his ass kissed since about age 10 or 11. He's
mm,
now 35. That's 25 years of straight ass kissing. He's as spoiled and as entitled as any kid born into millions the way Donald Trump was. He don't remember what it's like to be poor. Trust me. I don't remember. And when I was a senior in high school, me and my father lived in a one bedroom, 400 square foot apartment in the hood. I don't remember it. Uh, I had a great senior year. We won the state championship. I was the most popular kid in school. I was poor as shit. Poor, sleeping on the couch every night. Uh, I don't remember it
uh,
because I'm 53 now. I don't remember a lot of stuff, but but
yeah.
mostly what I remember is since about age 27, since age 27, so half of my life, I've made a lot of money, and most people, I made more money than my parents ever made in their life since I was about age 27.
Mm,
And that's what I remember, what it's like to be real comfortable and to be able to just, oh, I want that. That's what I remember. I don't remember eating sugar sandwiches. And so LeBron James is Donald Trump. I call him Black Trump. And
uh.
if you evaluate him through those eyes, it all makes sense.
All right, so can I evaluate his play really fast? First of all, I think he's a horrible teammate, right?
A horrible teammate.
A horrible teammate. Yeah, I said it.
Oh,
When he had Kyrie on his team, what business he got bringing up the ball? Why is he always trying to play the point guard? When he got point guards on his team, why is he always trying to be the one bringing the ball up the court?
Because he's better at point guard than Kyrie.
You really think that? You think he's going to make better decisions than Kyrie?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You might be right. You might be right. Now, the other thing about his play is I feel like he's pacing himself to have that long career, right? Like,
Smart.
which is smart, yes. Because when Derrick Rose first came in the league, people were, everybody was hyped up about Derrick Rose. I'm like, that dude gonna last about 5 years in this league, and he gonna be done. He gonna blow his knee out or something. And sure enough, a few years later, he blew his knee out. And at the time, people were like, why are you saying? I'm like, look at the way he's playing. Like he going all out every single play. LeBron's pacing himself to have a long career. He's not gonna be. It's very smart. He's not diving for every single ball. So with that being said, I think what he's trying to do is with this whole political thing is posture himself for life after the NBA. Right?
Yeah.
And what do you think that looks like for LeBron James, life after the NBA? Is he still political, Bron, or is he at ESPN, or what is he doing?
Nah, he ain't at ESPN, I don't think. Uh I really believe this, and I'm not joking. LeBron wants to run for president. Again, I
Mm,
keep calling Black Trump. His ego's out of control. And he couldn't he couldn't tell you where South Dakota is on the map. Probably couldn't tell you where Illinois is on the map. And he grew up in Ohio. Uh, but he thinks he could be president. And uh, he look, a lot of Kanye thinks he should be president.
mm,
So we live in a society now where the celebrity worship is so strong, but I think LeBron sees himself as he's going to get inducted into the Hollywood cult, and that's what he's going through right now, the initiation into the Hollywood quote, whatever. He's going to become one of the highest Masons
mm.
uh, in the world,
Uh-oh.
high ranking Mason,
Uh-oh.
and will try to be a puppet master
Mm.
uh, in the Hollywood cult scene and a puppet master in pop culture.
So
That's
he's
putting out these terrible TV shows and terrible Hollywood projects that everybody celebrates like they're good. They're terrible. But when you're in the cult, when you're in the clique, it doesn't. The quality of work doesn't matter. It's have you been initiated? Have you know been initiated in all the little secret society shit?
So all this stunt work right now is just posturing to be, I guess, king of the Negro Wranglers post NBA.
King Negro Wrangler. That's that title for him. King Wrangler is what we'll be calling him. Uh, yeah, I think because it's interesting. Have you noticed? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe your listeners out there know, but it seemed like he and Jay-Z used to be really tight, and now I think they're in competition with each other, and because you don't see the connection as strong. And so, yeah, he's wrestling with, and that's why he's out here on the political thing so hard. You know, uh, he's wrestling with Jay Z to be the head of the Negro Wranglers. Remember Russell Simmons? Remember he had that title for a while,
Yeah.
and then they Me Too'd him and got him up out of here.
Right.
And he basically said, "Let me get out of here, man. They got other Negro Wranglers they want to put in there. Just don't put me in jail next to Harvey Weinstein." Well, he left the country, did he? I mean, he got the
Yeah.
hell out of here.
Yeah.
And
Quick.
so, and LeBron and Jay Z and them should see that as a warning sign because what it tells you is like when you can no longer Negro wrangle,
Mm.
you might get a cell next to Cosby.
Mm. Oh.
You might be bunkmates with R. Kelly. R. Kelly looking around like, man, all the shit Elvis did, and they got me locked up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
Wrangler's a dangerous profession, man.
Okay, you just kind of refined some things I've had because I said before I'm like at the end of a black man's career is a rape charge, the Me Too movement, but really what it is at the end of a black wrangler's career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about the relationship between Jay-Z and LeBron, right? Because LeBron's still Rock Nation, right? Technically.
Nah, LeBron ain't Rock Nation.
He was never signed to them under management?
Nah,
Okay.
LeBron started his own thing. Rich
Okay.
Paul is the head
Oh,
of the
yes.
agency and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. So I guess so. All right. So him and Jay-Z were friends, and now it seems like
there
they're
seems
not
to be
playing.
some distance. I'm sure they would still claim to be friends, but it just seemed like. Remember when Drake came on LeBron's garbage HBO show, The Shop?
Yeah.
I remember Drake was sitting there like a little boy. Remember, LeBron, I came to you and asked for your permission. What should I do, King James? Trust me, uh, Jay Z and what's the dude? Is it Baby with Cash Money?
Yeah.
Yeah, they was like, Drake, what the hell are you doing up there kissing LeBron's ass like he's the dude from Cash Money, Baby, or like he's Jay Z? That was a little signal of LeBron was flexing his muscles, and it's not. He's the Godfather. He that was to me a statement like, I'm the Negro Wrangler.
Uh,
I just made Drake grab my belt loop. You know how they make you grab a belt loop in jail? They made Drake grab LeBron's belt loop and took him from Baby, and and there's a lot more truth in what I'm saying here that I can't go into because I don't want to shock the mainstream. They're gonna call us the Black Info Wars if I really go everywhere. But trust me, I know what they're doing. That's
mm,
why they can't stand me.
mm, mm. Um, I thought it was divide and conquer. I thought like Jay-Z, look, I'm gonna go over here and conquer the NFL. LeBron, you take the NBA, and then that's why their tactics were kind of different. But you're saying there
Negro
might be
competition, man.
it's a
This is
competition.
Django Unchained right now. With you know, they got that they fighting right now. Who's gonna be the Negro Wrangler?
I could definitely understand that. Let's talk about Rooney Rule, Steve Nash, and then some other things before we close.
Hotep, I gotta go. It's 7:09. I got. We can get one more question in.
All right. One more question. No, it's all good. Um, being black in broadcasting, is it as racist as they make it seem? It's the struggle. Is it real?
Look, I don't. In the history of the world, there's always been unfairness, and unfairness comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, and so unfairness is a word that I like to use, and racism is just a form of unfairness.
Mm,
And so you're never going to eliminate unfairness
mm,
until the Most High returns and we all come under his direct rulership.
mm,
Right now, it's a voluntary program, and very few people have volunteered. So there's a lot of unfairness in the world.
mm,
And so, in every arena, there's unfairness, whether you're black, white, green, yellow, or whatever. And so, if you want less unfairness to impact black people, if you want less racial unfairness, as black people, what Hotep is doing by building his own, by starting his own business, and by being his own boss, that's how you eliminate unfairness. That's why I made the move to Outkick and ownership, and will continue down this path of ownership and power. That's how you eliminate unfairness. And
mm,
so, uh, in the broad, I would say there's unfairness in every profession. I would say uh, we experience a little more unfairness than others because we refuse to man up and build our own and be bosses ourselves.
uh,
As long as you're on your knees begging, you're going to experience some unfairness. Uh,
uh,
and that stop the begging,
uh,
build your own.
uh,
Every black man should be out here trying to be an entrepreneur and build his own platform, his own way of self sufficiency. That's how you end unfairness.
I love it. Racism is unfairness. Um, Trump versus Biden, Tyson versus Roy Jones. Real quick. Who you got, Trump or Biden?
I think that Black Lives Matters is delivering the election to Trump. I think every time you see a Black Lives Matter video, there's probably 10 Trump voters created for every video created. So I think they're delivering that. Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, I guess I would go with Tyson, but they both crazy.
Why you laugh like that?
Because it's crazy, man. They both old. They need to leave it alone. But I'll probably, like everybody else, I'll watch just for shits and giggles.
All right, I'm gonna watch too. I'm definitely gonna be tuned in. Jason, appreciate you for the conversation today. Very powerful words. Thank you very much for your time, man.
Tell me that I just want to make sure I haven't let you down. Is you normally do about an hour interview?
Nah, my interviews go long. I usually do 3 hours.
Oh my god! So I am letting you down.
No, you're not. We gonna come back and do round two.
Let's do that then.
I'm gonna wait for something else. We gonna bring you back for round two.
All right. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
People, that was Jason Whitlock, part one. It's a lot I wanted to talk to him about. A lot I wanted to discuss that we didn't get into. We'll get into it on part two. Shout out to Sketch Therapy and Raider holding me down in the chat as always. 700 plus people in the room. Before you leave, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I'm gonna finish off these super chats. Spencer Dinwiddie, no. Jay Wells, he said, what Whitlock think about Larry Johnson Twitter? That would have been a good question. Power Gray, here we go. Talking that talk. Lemley, what up? He said, Jimmy Butler is far better leader and teammate than LeBron, but somehow gets way worse reputation in the press. Vado, what up? He said, I feel left out. I'm going to start Hispanic Lives Matter for clout. Sir Bubba Hotep, appreciate you, homie. He said, shout out to Jason Whitlock. Thank you for being an excellent journalist. Hotep Jesus, thank you for continuing to put out great content. Appreciate you. Peace and love to all of the Hotep Nation. Appreciate HJ introducing us to Jason Whitlock as if I'm introducing him. I think it's more like he's introducing me to his crowd. As a young dude, it's hard to find these type of strong personalities. Definitely following Mr. Whitlock says, thank you, Sketch. But again, this has been another uncomfortable conversation. Subscribe at soundcloud.com/HotepJesus to get audio versions of all of my interviews. Thank you for watching. Once again, hit like, hit subscribe. We'll be back next week with my relationship show on Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. with Wendy Yo, the crypto specialist. Thank you, True Offense. Appreciate you. Thursdays, as everybody know, Hotep's Been Told You, our premiere show on this channel with Uncle Hotep, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then next week, I'll have another great guest on at 7 p.m. Friday for another uncomfortable conversation. We're going to get real Hotep next week. So I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all be safe and stay Hotep.